It was July 6, 2018. While there was a heat wave going on back home, we headed out early into Mexico to avoid the border crowds. We had several areas in mind for this trip. One of them was Punta Baja, a 6-hour drive from home for the first night's camp. Then it was off to an area called the Seven Sisters, famous for its many beaches with good surf breaks. We wanted to spend a few days there before heading across the peninsula to Bahia de Los Angeles on the Sea of Cortez. The goal there was to find and swim with whale sharks, spend a few days in the warm waters before heading back home with one night in San Felipe. We had planned 9 days and 8 nights for this trip, and it still felt short. We left Orange County early and took the coast down through San Diego, where we picked up a satellite phone, exchanged some money, crossed the border, and headed to Ensenada for tacos. From there, it was a long haul all the way down to El Rosario and off to look for a place to camp for the night at Punta Baja. After some killer tacos in Ensenada and picking up some fireworks to celebrate Kyle's birthday, we finally made it down to Punta Baja. We made it out to the point, and the boys instantly climbed up the lighthouse to get a better view. We took a bunch of pictures there. Then we saw this. Yikes, don't leave your trash here. Eventually, we settled on a little wash where we were out of the wind, and there was a fire pit and a peace sign made out of shells. It was a perfect camp spot. The boys instantly jumped into the water for some cold water surfing. Then as it started to get dark, we kind of just hung out, and soon enough we were shooting fireworks to celebrate Kyle's 6th birthday that day. After a great first day, a nice camp, and a good night's sleep thanks to our rooftop tents, we woke up to a chilly, foggy morning. While the heat wave was going on back home, we were wearing sweatshirts and drinking hot coffee. A lot of prep had gone into this trip. Our vehicles were fully stocked to spend a week or more off the grid. And here we were, found ourselves on a beautiful coastline in the wilds of Baja. After more photos, we made breakfast, packed up, and made a few last-minute repairs to the two-way radio on Mike's compass. Off we went, further south. We packed up early from Punta Baja and headed out on the road. We knew we had a long drive to get to the Seven Sisters area. From there, we also had to stop at the only fuel stop, the back of a pickup truck, at the intersection of Bay of LA and Highway 1. Then we were on our own and headed into Santa Rosalita and up to El Morón Beach that we called Mario's Beach. Full of gas and looking for the perfect camp on a sandy beach somewhere, we made several stops to look around, and Jonah jumped in the driver's seat every time. Soon we landed at El Morón. We all knew instantly this was the spot. The kids wasted no time getting in the water and riding the sand dunes while we made camp. We called home on the sat phone, let everyone know we were safe. We also let them know we had found a perfect spot to camp for several days. Now it was time to chill, have a few beers, grab some lunch, just relax and check out the place. We tried a little fishing, but no one had any luck. So we just kind of kicked back and relaxed and played in the sand, played in the sand dunes, and just enjoyed. After some more tacos, we all gathered around while Jonah played the guitar and Kyle opened his birthday presents from his family. He, like the rest of us, felt like he was in heaven that evening. Mike and I would always wake up early. While the boys slept, I would have my coffee, and Mike would have his Red Bull. Maybe 2. I think David slept in the hammock that night, but slowly they began to wake up, and we launched the drones. We didn't know it, but we had each brought a drone with us. Soon they were all up in the air getting some epic shots. This beach was incredible. We had 3 miles all to ourselves except for Mario up at the north end. You just don't find places like this back home. We were all alone. We loved it. Mario had come to us the day before in his rusty old Toyota truck. Don't know how that thing still drove, but it did. Mario lived down at the far north end of the beach. It was just a tiny little fishing village with a few wooden shacks slapped together with leftover pieces of whatever they could find. I think he maintained the lighthouse. Had a solar panel on it, full of bird poop. Not sure how it was still working, but it was. We would see it every night. We were always seeing dolphins. We found these close to shore. They were just cruising, probably looking for fish, but at one point they saw the drone. They looked up at it, very curious. They were just cruising by, super slow, under the algae, and into the blue waters. We would see these every morning. These were our closest neighbors. Day 3 we ended up just staying there. We had no plans on leaving this beautiful beach. We walked down to both ends to do some exploring. We found all kinds of animals in the rocks. Crabs, dead fish, skeletons, you name it. We had brought back a few clams that we wanted to use as fishing bait and try our luck when we walked into Kyle, covered in mud. We had to stop for a photo. The guys were just chilling, doing some surfing. Just a good day to spend in the sun. Boys were happy. David got the idea with Maxon to dig a hole for a fire pit that night and build a sofa in the sand. We thought they were crazy. They pulled it off. It was awesome. That was one of those sunsets we'll never forget. Just hanging out, burning all the fire. Mario had brought us a whole truckload of firewood. We had firewood for days. Watching the sunset that evening was just perfect. It was one for the books. Me and my 2 boys, Jonah and Maxon, my brother-in-law Mike with his son Kyle, our friends who are also best friends themselves, Zach and David. We were all there taking it in. The sofa in the sand proved to be worth its weight in gold. The hard work digging was all worth it. That thing was epic. Everyone joined in, sat around the fire enjoying it. Maxon perfected it. We made s'mores well into the night. Mike had packed everything into that little Jeep Compass. I don't know how he did it. Even flashlights that soon became lightsabers and lightsaber battles. Day 4 we would wake up to a wet morning. Everything was kind of just soaked. We took our time drying things out. We had breakfast, packed up, and off we went. We said goodbye to Mario on the way out. We had to turn him down as he offered us these massive halibut. After saying goodbye to Mario, we were back on the dirt road, heading further north in search of another spot. We knew Punta Coño was up there. We weren't sure if we'd make it, but when we did, it delivered on beauty. We ended up staying there, listening to the sounds of crashing waves. The dirt road to Punta Coño was very scenic. It had many spots to stop, grab a beer, check out the views, especially the one spot with the 7 miles of sand. The boys loved climbing up and down the rocks and all over my Jeep. When we finally got there, We knew this place was special. We camped on the rocks, we had a calm bay on one side of us and the sound of crashing waves of the Pacific on the other. It was lunchtime and Mike busted out some hot dogs and sausages. More stuff he'd packed in his car while the boys got the Hawaiian slings and went out to the tide pools in search of fish. Mario had given us some pointers on where to camp when we got there. We think he knows what he was talking about. He also said those shacks out there are one of his. He only uses them every once in a while. We had heard these guys while we were at camp. Jonah and I set out on a mission with the drone to go find them. We found them on this little island, just hanging out. We got right up on them. First they didn't care, but I think we got a little too close at that point. Maxon was on a mission with his Hawaiian sling. He had seen David catch something earlier, and now he wanted to do the same. He spent a lot of time out there in the tide pools, looking around, trying to catch something. He never did. He didn't care. He had a blast. I was doing some shore fishing with no luck that afternoon. Who needed luck? Look at where we were. Look at this place. You could just sit there and stare out for hours. Right behind us was a long stretch of sandy white beach. We got out there and discovered we were sinking in the mud to our knees. We got a great laugh out of this and spent a lot of time out there just having races in the mud. Back at camp, we did some more fishing with no luck. Kyle, Jonah, and I decided to go for a walk to a small little neighboring beach and a lookout in order to get a closer look at the sea lions we could hear the whole time. We headed over there, but then Kyle got cold and I had to give him my shirt. He was happy, I was happy, sunburnt and red. But hey, we found the sea lions, we had a good old time, and we headed back to find out that the boys were catching some fish. Back at camp, it was time for dinner. Guess what? More tacos and the lobster we got from Mario. Day 5, we woke up to a thick marine layer. We all decided at breakfast that we would head out a day early and chase the sunshine to the Sea of Cortez. We had studied maps and decided to take an off-road route headed up north to Highway 1 rather than backtrack and take the highway. We had extra fuel, plenty of food and water for the 5-hour adventure. We each had about half a tank of gas and a little bit of extra fuel carried on the back of the Jeep. We knew there was no turning back. We did it, 3.5 hours to the highway, and then it was smooth sailing to Bay of LA. We were glad we did it. It was a long, beautiful drive through the middle of the peninsula, what Baja is all about. We finally arrived at Bahia de Los Angeles in the afternoon. We rented hotel rooms and the boys immediately got to catching small fish. Mike was stung by a stingray, but the quick hot water response from the hotel staff took care of it. After some more beer and tacos, it was Baja midnight. We had all been sleeping very well. Mike and I loved getting up early to watch the sunrises, and what a special sunrise it was over the Sea of Cortez. The hotel dog seemed to be enjoying it also. This was the day we had all been pumped on. That day, we went into Guillermo's for breakfast. We had made arrangements with them to have a super punga take us out to swim with the whale sharks. After a killer Mexican breakfast, we all boarded the boat and off we went. Turns out our captain is an MMA fighter, like Zach and David, so they instantly hit it off. What a small world. Within a few minutes, Jonah had spotted some whales. These turned out to be fin whales, second only to the blue whale in size. It was just the beginning of whale shark season. They were going to be very hard to find this early in the year. After an hour of searching for whale sharks, we decided to call it and go do some fishing. We also went and snorkeling at a local bay. Last time I had been there, it was all sand, but this time it was full of water and full of stingrays. We were extra cautious considering what had happened to Mike the day before. David was doing some spearfishing with the Hawaiian sling. He caught this fish, then he went to show it off to all of us and the pelicans and dropped it in the water. He wanted to feed it to the pelicans anyway. Back on the boat, we headed back to Guillermo's. No whale sharks, but we were all super stoked on what we had done. After some lunch and some killer margaritas, we decided to go across the bay to a beach known as La Gringa. We parked on top of the bluff. The boys instantly got their snorkel gear, jumped in the turquoise waters, while I grabbed my drone to chase them. The water was super warm. They stayed out there what seemed to be hours. This place was spectacular. Mike was happy how well his Jeep had performed and where he had gotten in that little Jeep Compass. The boys continued to play in the water. No complaints, just good, clean summer fun. They were having the time of their life. They didn't know it at the time, but I was working on my drone piloting skills while they were out in the water. I'm pretty happy with a lot of these shots. We were a long way from home. This was supposed to be our last day of adventure in Bahia de Los Angeles. We would call it a success. Up early again for the sunrise, we decided to go rent the Ponga again, go out earlier this time in calmer waters, and find the whale sharks. After 20 minutes, Jonah spotted one. Not sure what it is about Jonah, but he has this incredible ability to spot whales every time we're out there. He just super concentrates on the horizon, focuses. There's something about seeing these beautiful creatures up close. They're calm, they're magical. They slowly cruise by. They're not scared of us. That made us not scared of them. They just kind of cruise by, doing their thing, while we try and catch up to them. Everyone got in there with these huge fish. We found 4 of them overall. Some small, some big. We all got a turn, up close. David took it to the next level. He was like a whale shark cowboy. This was the icing on the cake for a spectacular trip. Everyone was happy. They had checked things off their bucket list they didn't even know they had. Huge success. We called it early and started making our way up to San Felipe for the night and then home the following day. Overall, what a magical place. What a magical trip. As they say in Baja, we'll do it again. Mañana.